Hello, everybody, gorgeous people. Well, we are here talking about gorgeous people and gorgeous views. We're here with Sal, who's in his conservatory, and we're seeing this very well maintained garden, which I'm impressed by. Sal, how are
I
you?
don't I don't do it.
You don't
I
do.
do nothing.
Well, your wife is an angel.
No.
Yes, my wife is, but we do have some people that come and work it. I'm uh, I'm not interested in the garden. I mean, I'm interested in enjoying the garden. I'm not interested in working the garden. I used to be, but I've been a carnivore for many years now. So all I'm interested is my cows. So that's the only thing that appeals to me. Oh, we do have a large vegetable plot, but I'm just not interested.
Oh,
I lost interest once I became a carnivore.
okay,
So I did all the extra work for.
sure. Just as before we get into our subjects that we're going
Like,
to. So, are you a carnivore as in the carnivore diet, and that you just eat meat? Is that what you do?
I am 100% carnivore. All I eat is meat and fats. I eat eggs as well. I mean, this could be a whole subject in itself, but many years ago, I was a vegetarian for about 20 years. And I also used to eat a lot of sweets. And then everything was great. I had great body, good physique, lots of exercising. And then suddenly, out of the blue, I began to get fat. Nothing had changed. Well, okay, I was making a bit more homemade bread.
Yeah.
But now,
How old were you when this happened?
this was in my early 50s.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And subsequently, it turns out that I had been type 2 diabetic for many years and I had damaged my kidneys. I was unaware of this, even though I was aware of the symptoms. I just wasn't putting the two and two together. And so then I went on a journey to heal myself. And the end result of that was at one point I discovered that actually I had damaged my guts.
Yeah.
By this time, Charlie and I had come together. And so through Charlie, I learned that actually I had gut damage from aluminium. And sure enough, when I looked around, I've been using aluminium in all manner of things for years. And so we started working together on healing me. And that involved becoming 100% carnivore
Okay.
as a means of allowing my guts to heal. And, there's a lot more to that, but helped me to deal with my, at the time, type 2 diabetes,
Yeah.
which had become really quite bad.
Yeah.
But, today I'm good. And I've been a pure carnivore now for 5 years. It was disheartening at first because I couldn't even have eggs or lamb or anything else. As long as my guts had damage, then the lectins from this, from the protein within lamb and eggs and any other bird or whatever, it would create allergic reactions in my body.
Okay.
But over the last 6 months, my guts are now fully healed. Charlie said, yeah, you can eat eggs now. And I can eat lamb as well.
Okay.
And now I can eat these things with impunity. Before I couldn't. So my diet is a bit more diverse, but it's still purely meat, protein and fat, nothing else.
Okay. Fantastic. And do you eat fish or is it just animal meat?
It's only animal meat. I'm not 100% sure whether the reason why I cannot eat fish is because the whole bloody thing is so polluted.
Right.
I think finding healthy fish out there is getting to be difficult. And I think that has a lot to do with why Charlie is still not allowing me to eat fish.
Okay. It's interesting that you were taking your guidance from Charlie. And when I made my shift, which was in my 50s, when I realized that something was seriously awry, something was not right, I used the idiomotor signaling talking to my body wisdom. Quite who I was connecting to, I don't know, but my body wisdom was saying yes for this, no for that. And by doing a similar thing, suddenly my whole health changed, very, very, very quickly.
Well, we could do a different podcast another time where we focus exclusively on that because it's a big deal for humanity right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I've got lots of questions about the carnivore diet, which we'll do that on a separate. So, Sal, everything's a mess and everything's okay. The world we're living in what I'm describing as clown world. We're in a circus and we're in clown world. What I mean by that is before everything used to, we're in the age of, we're in the period of light where everybody's seeing now. We have to see. We've come out of the darkness into the light. And so we're seeing what's always been there, but we never quite saw it the way that we see it now, where, we're seeing levels of corruption in politicians that's immense. We're seeing the inability of politicians to even think beyond what they're told to do. We're seeing world disasters happening and calamities and wars and everything. How are you feeling?
Well, how am I feeling? A mixture. The reason why I reached out to you again is because I have come out of my dark cloud. Over the winter, I spent about 5 months where I was so despondent that I stopped everything.
Right.
No videos, no writing, and I just disappeared. And then suddenly at the beginning of the year, I came back
Okay.
and I began to sort of, I actually got lost in playing computer games.
Wow.
And then it took me a while. First of all, it took me to the beginning of the year to say, I need to get back to work. Work means do what we do, you and I. And of course, I still had because I've been doing so much of this particular Diablo 2, the know you heard of it. I was just playing it nonstop.
Okay.
I was just taking a holiday from reality. And then I had to bring myself back, and you cannot just go like that. So I had to then say to myself, okay, I actually want to go back. And then I had to begin to train myself to be able to, if you like, it's like an addiction. So I had to then train myself to leave the addiction behind. And that took me a little while. It took me about 6 weeks. But gradually, I came to the point when suddenly one day I said, I don't want to do that anymore. And I haven't been back since. I just have not looked. And I started doing videos and I started writing and I'm back.
Okay, good. Welcome
So
back.
I'm here now. I'm here once more. See, we're all human. And this idea that somehow there's perfection to be achieved in a human being is nonsense. Yeah. There's fluctuations. We go up, we go down. How far we go depends on where we're at, but it's never a straight line.
Sure.
And so the most important thing for a human being is to accept ourselves as we are without preconditions.
Mhm.
So today I'm addicted to computer games. That's me. All right. That's where I am. But then a moment comes when suddenly, I'm ready to move on. And I kept asking Charlie, said, look, are you okay with me playing all these games? I said, that's fine. Brings tears to me. But he totally accepted the space I was in.
Sure.
No judgment.
Mhm.
Sometimes we need to take a holiday.
I agree. I agree with you, Sal, and your story resonates a lot with me because I've been through exactly the same thing. A little later in the year, but I think what's happened. I mean, how I've been given these messages from the emissaries for the last, I don't know, 6 years, without fail. constantly. You know, all the way through the pandemic, or it just kind of meta commenting on everything. You know, giving the messages that everything's going to be okay. And I think I got to uh, an exhaustion level. I was exhausted. Yeah, and what it was doing was leaving me kind of despondent. I was despondent. I was kind of, oh, you know, what's this all about? You know, how long am I going to give this message for? You know, when is the nice bit going to come? And so I did exactly the same. I talked to the emissaries and I said, I need a break. Is it okay? And they said, of course it's okay. Have a break. Take all the time you need. You know, it's kind of like, I think we're in this for the long haul. This is not a short term thing. And so, yeah, every now and again, we've got to take care of ourselves.
We do. Even though it may not appear that it's a good thing.
It turns into addiction. But hey,
We deal with it. Yeah, so yeah, the world. I mean, there's some positive and negatives. When you said clown world, I knew exactly who you've been listening to because I also listen to him. You know, when I was a young lad, my idea of being a spiritual being was move away from the world.
sure.
Forget about the world. I never had an interest in what's going on around me. I was just focused on, I want to grow, I want to develop, I want to be this, that, the other. But over the last few years, I find myself being interested in politics, not in as in let's vote for Joe Bloggs or the other one, because as you said at the beginning, there's a lot of corruption, and most of them are corrupt. Whether we're talking the UK, America, the Europe, European core market, corruption is endemic everywhere, and all the people at the top, they're all marionettes. Someone else is pulling the strings, and to get a sense of that, for those who are listening, I would say listen to Andrew Bridget before he was thrown out of Parliament. When he was standing up for COVID and he wanted answers to what was going on. And he was told, you know, stop talking about that. And you either shut up and get a peerage and, you know, we feather your nest, everything will be great. Or you're gonna be out in uncertain terms. And they done it. I mean, the way that he lost his seat is incredible. You know, someone with such a majority. And yet, when push came to shove, he was out. I said, how did they do that? And who are these they? I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories, but it's more definitely a they. There's a they, yeah. And the closest I'm going to get to the they is by saying that for the last 300 years, give or take, there have been secret societies who have been working in the shadows. Because you then need to question, well, who is at the top of these secret societies? Okay, but I'm not going to push the envelope too far. I'm just going to say our societies have been managed at a political level for hundreds of years. And people think you go and you vote for Joe Bloggs, this, that, the other. No, they present you two opposing alternatives. Look, choose this one or choose that one. But they're both fighting for the same team. How do we know? Well, look back at the history, political history. Nothing ever changes. Everything keeps going in one direction. Greater and greater control of the individual. Yeah. Less and less choice. So it's just what's on my head.
True. And it's interesting what you were saying about the fact that before you were never interested in politics, and nor was I. And I think many people weren't. I mean, I was being brought up as a Jehovah's Witness. We were taught that all of that was Babylon the Great. It was bad, and so I never had any interest. Never. I didn't even know how to talk about
Well, they were right.
that. Oh, the Jehovah's Witnesses.
They don't back to Babylon.
Yeah, the Jehovah's Witnesses have, they have, because they're using the Bible as a reference. So they've got a lot of things right. They just think they've got the monopoly on the end of the world, and they haven't. But so what happened was, I was just thinking when you said it, I was thinking just like 2 days ago, whatever happened? I was never interested in politics, but I realized I was thinking, well, what made me interested? And it was when they started interfering in my life. When they're just those stupid politicians who do the thing, no problem. But when they locked me into my house, that's when I got very, very interested in politics. So I think all of us, everybody who's watching this, would probably agree that it's very important that we educate ourselves on what's happening. We need to know, because by knowing, then we are able to say no when we have to say no. We need to know what is yes and what is no.
And I'll take it a little step further, just a tiny little bit. We need to inform ourselves as to who is controlling the strings of the politicians,
Sure.
because our ignorance is, the way we're raised in schools, we're not taught anything. We're given versions of history, which always comes from the victors.
Absolutely.
We're really ignorant, and we don't question enough. We need to question everything. We need to question politics. We need to question health. We need to question food. We need to question pharmacy. And clearly we need to question mainstream media. I mean, that goes without saying.